Hi guys, I'm Ashley from Mahoney Brickworks and these are 10 things which I can't build without. So first things first, this is my Marshalltown trowel. It is a 12-inch wide London pattern with a level handle on it. I can't do my day-to-day work without this in my hands. This is my big money earner. Without this, no wages get taken home. And yeah, it pretty much lives in my hand. As you can see there, I've got one tattooed on my hand as well. It is a big part of my life. A bit like Captain Hook really. It's always there and never leaves me. So yeah, it's just a big part of the game. This is how I hold it, handle here, and I spread like this, pipe my bricks up like this, and yeah, there you go. That is your main money earner. And sometimes as well, I also use this to cut my bricks as well. If I've got a 3/4 up against a window reveal, I'll use my trowel like this to cut through as well. It can sometimes damage it, but I go through these once a year. I will always go and buy a new trowel because as you're scraping, you get this side here gets quite sharp. It wears down, and the more that it wears down, the less mortar you can get onto it when you're spreading. So I always like to get a new one to maximise the spread of mortar when I'm working. This is my trowel. So next, this is my bucket handle jointer. It is an 82, again, Marshalltown, and this also I can't live without because this is a finishing product of my brickwork. So once we've laid the mortar and laid the bricks, this is what we use to point up. We top and tail our perps as well, like this, up and down, to guarantee that you get a smooth finish over your work. There is a smaller end on one side and a fatter end on the other side. I alternate these to save it wearing down and you can maximise the use out of it. So yeah, this is my bucket handle jointer and I can't live without this also. This is my finishing brush. This finishes off brickwork. Once you've used your trowel, once you've used your bucket handle jointer, this is what we used to finish off the product. Brush either up and down or side to side, and this is a very soft one as well. This is basically because if you've got a hard brush, you can put brush marks in your mortar bed or in your perps. Sometimes I don't always use my brush as well. If I'm laying engineering bricks, blues or reds, a good tip for you guys at home is to get some insulation, some rock wool insulation, and you can rub that over it as well and it brings up a real nice finish. And other times as well, if I haven't got my brush to hand, I do sometimes rub my work over with my hand as well. Or gloves. Preferably wear gloves, but I've been around for a long time. I'm not a fan of gloves myself and I do use my bare hands while laying bricks and while finishing work off sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, go for your brush. So next, this is my line and pins and corner block. These are what you build your wall to and you lay your bricks to. Some bricklayers like to work where they build the whole wall in one hit. But with myself personally, I like to build my corners first and then just run the whole wall in. You can run with a free mind, you're not going to think about nothing. And most of the work is in the corner because once you've built the corner then, all you have to do is put your corner block on, unravel your line and pin and just lay freely and leave your mind to go free. So these are footprint pins as well. These are one of the best on the market. They're solid, and when you hit them into your block work or if you're pinning into any concrete when you're setting out your builds, they don't bend. These are a solid product. Next important tool which I can't build without is my tape. This is the precision in a build. So basically as you're going up with your corners, with your brickwork, you have to gauge them. Sometimes you've got imperial bricks, sometimes you have metric bricks. Metric gauge is 75 millimeters, imperial gauge is 85 millimeters, but 9 times out of 10 nowadays we work with metric gauge. Every time we're working, if I've got a profile set up on the corner, I will take my measuring tape out, I will count in 75 mils all the way down the tape. I'll use a pencil to mark it onto the profile and then the tape can be put away in your pocket and it's done with for the afternoon or the morning for while you're setting up for the day. Also as well, while you're setting out buildings, you need your tape measure to be able to work out the dimensions of the build, get the correct measurements. This is why this is such an important tool to have in your toolbox, and I can't build without it. So this is my axe which I use. This can be quite a controversial tool for bricklayers because not many bricklayers do like to use this. A lot of bricklayers use a brick hammer, but for me personally, my personal preference, I prefer to use an axe when cutting bricks. Sometimes when window frames are set out on pre-existing buildings, i.e. timber frames, or measurements which you're building towards drawings, it doesn't always work gauge with bricks and you might have to put a 3/4 brick in. With a brick hammer, they are shaped which you have to cut it like that way. But the reason why I like to use an axe is I can have it front on, I can scratch with my tape measure which we've seen previously, the measurement, and then I can cut my brick straight through with my axe. So this is why I like to use an axe over a brick hammer. Just personal preference, but I find it easier to be able to cut this way instead of this way. So this is my pointing trowel. This is what I use when finishing off products of bricklaying, i.e. when you're doing a tile crease on a brick on edge detail, you like to put a bit of flaunching along it, and this is what I like to use. This particular pointing trowel is probably about 20 to 30 years old because I was doing a job this previous summer 2022, and the bloke I was doing the job for, he pulled it out of his shed. He said he took it off his brother-in-law when he cleared his house out, unfortunately, when he passed away, and he said it was just in his shed at the time. So this is why this is one of my favourite tools as well. Just this tool for instance, particularly because I know there's a lot of history behind it. It's been used by many a bricklayer over the years as well. It's got a lot of wear to it, and it just basically is a nice little shape for all the final details when pointing up mortar. Next, a tool which I can't build without is my wire brush, because this is what I use at the end of the day when cleaning my tools off, during the working day as well while cleaning my tools. It's just a good product to have in your toolbox just for cleaning up. If you're working with bricks which have a good feather on the edge, on the face of the actual brick as well, and sometimes as it happens we are working with a wet mortar, it is a wet trade and you can splash around sometimes, and this is also good just to clean the bricks off basically for any excess mortar which may fall and drop onto the work below. So for cleaning your tools and sometimes for cleaning brickwork off, if it gets a little bit too hard and you can't do it with your brush, then this is a good product to have, a wire brush. Next is my Stabila Type R 300. Now this is a new style level that come out over the past couple of years, but I prefer this over the old shape style because it has a wider bottom on it when laying the bricks. The reason why this is so important to have as a bricklayer is because as you are building your wall, you need to make sure it is staying true for plumb as you're building, and also while you're building your corners as well to make sure it is level. So this is a really important product to have. Also, you can use it as a profile as well. If you have any brick clamps on you can clamp your level to the corner and you can build, putting your corner block and pins onto your level to be able to build off this as well. So this is something that I 100,000,000% need on a day-to-day basis to make sure I'm producing the finest quality of brickwork. Next, this is my hod. Now, this is what I started off in the game using and carrying during my labouring days. I think it is a very important tool, but now I've progressed onto the bricklaying, I also like to go back and use this as well. If you look through a lot of my social media videos, I use this on a regular basis. So with a hod, some bricklayers, they'll stack the bricks up in stacks of 12s or 10s, whichever's comfortable for yourself, and throw them up onto your shoulder. But the reason why I like to use this is because you don't get any bits going down your back. It sits on your shoulder nice and securely, and you can walk around the job basically without having your arm up in the air if you was to carry them sitting on your shoulder. The length of the staff, a lot of people do comment on it because they say that I need to cut it down and make it shorter, but this is my personal preference why I keep my staff this long, because also this can be used as a scraper to clean your plots out at the end of the day as well. You haven't got to bend down too far with it. You can just use it to clean the floor out and it's comfortable. You're not bending over too much and it saves your back. When I was starting out with this, you can be quite clumsy with it until you get used to carrying it basically. Sometimes you can be falling off your shoulder until you get used to it, and then there is a time where it just sits there and you can carry bricks around like so without your hands actually using the HUD as well. It's because the shape of your shoulder has moulded through carrying bricks time and time over the years, which is why sometimes you can see I do have one shoulder bigger than the other, because this is the arm which carries all my bricks around in as well. Also with the HUD, you don't see many people doing it nowadays because they all carry buckets, but I also like to use this to carry my mortar as well. So I'll get a shovel which I've cut down in half, I will scrape it out of the tub into the HUD, scrape the excess off back into the tub, pick it up and carry my mortar around the job of it as well. When you carry mortar in buckets, you also have to swish water out in between it to make sure that it flows out of the bucket. With the HUD, you don't have to do this. You just have to throw it down and carry on. You give it a little brush out throughout the day, but yeah, very good product to have and learn to use to carry as part of your toolkit, the HUD. So everyone, this is me, Ash Mahoney from Mahoney Brickworks Limited, and those were the 10 tools that I can't build without. I also want to thank Build with A&E for having me up here again in this amazing studio. So make sure you follow my socials, Mahoney Brickworks Limited. We are on Instagram and on Facebook, and our website is www.mahoneybrickworkslimited.co.uk. And comment who you would like to see up here next, talking about the 10 tools that they can't build without. Thank you all, I'll see you soon.